Well, how are we doing, Beatstar fans? This is iRoasted505 here, and it's time for me to actually do a tier list I've been waiting to do for a long time. Today, we're going to be looking at the Beatstar Deluxe Extremes tier list. Most notably, we're going to be doing the ones up to Season 48. Over 2 years, the Deluxes have actually came to Beatstar, and I can't wait to finally rank the Deluxe Extremes. So, what are we waiting for? But, let's begin. If you're new to my channel, it works the same way as Ben Matson. I will be ranking every single song based around the difficulty. In this case, Deluxe Extremes up to Season 48. It'll be on a scale of 1 star to 6. Tier list will be based upon DP and clearing status, and overall patterns and tricks being a chart. And of course, arrows will indicate whether or not a song is close to moving up or down a tier. And of course, I'm only talking about Deluxe Extremes only. If you want to see regular Extremes, I've already did so on my channel. So already we have a lot of ground to cover. We have 101 Deluxe Extremes, well 102 Extremes with one being deleted from the game, and I'm pretty sure you all know where that comes from. And I think it's really clear that everyone's been really waiting to see a Deluxe Extreme tier list updated, and now it's time we finally get through the big grounds. Presenting the Deluxe Extreme tier list for Beatstar, January 2025. Before we begin, you may notice that there's an extra tier on this list, because there's one specific extreme in the Deluxe Extreme variants that do stick out like a sore thumb, and of course that's Kill the Main Deluxe, the easiest extreme in the entire game, even being more easier than Gangnam Style, The Drill, and Remember Me. I understand why Beatstar made this decision on whole though, because they wanted to give new players their first 100,000 score, but this feels very, very easy for an extreme. So much so that it barely even qualifies as a 1-star hard. What's funny to me though is that I do think technically this could work as extreme, maybe for more charting instrumentation, or maybe the swipes were more worked in a more smart or unique way. But as this is the most bizarre I've ever seen from Beatstar ranking something as a Beatstar Deluxe Extreme. Moving on to the 1-stars here, we have 4 songs in this tier over here. When ranking things at a Deluxe Extreme, sometimes it can actually leave more flavor, but also leaving things a bit more easier in retrospect. We have something like 7 Days Deluxe here, which actually does more charting the instrumentations pretty well here, and even charting more Craig Davis fast talking. Hey Ya and You Can't Touch This Deluxe actually utilizes the fast rapping techniques to their advantage here and adding more interesting things like the Shake It verse or the Hammer Time verse. And of course we have That Deluxe here at the highest of the 1-star tier. If it was still in the game, maybe it could bump up to a 2-star, depending on like how players would actually view the whole entire pattern and holds and is applicable. But as it is, it's definitely not that hard compared to the other things with the 2-star tier. Speaking of, we're finally at the 2-star tier, with 20 songs being landed in this tier. We have a lot of droppers in this tier though. Freestylers Deluxe, Levels Deluxe, and Anacondas Deluxe. Freestyle of the Deluxe is actually a very straightforward extreme here, especially one that has over 700 notes. This could have been put as a Deluxe hard and nobody would even care. Levels Deluxe is really weird because all it just is just diagonal swipe nation with only one speck of good in it with the whole entire spam at stage 4. And Anaconda Deluxe being pretty surprisingly good with actually having a lot of spam and actually a lot of great rapping from Nicki Minaj being charted. But I can see that if it wasn't a 6-tier list, it would definitely drop to a 1. We have newer ground to cover here with newer extremes here, Drifting Away Deluxe and Remember Me Deluxe being interesting improvements from their standard counterparts. Favelas Deluxe actually having the same chart that smells like crap, but at least has an interesting pattern. We have My Friends Over You, Twittenum Deluxe, Gangnam Style Deluxe, You Spin Me Around Deluxe, so on and so forth. I do think the one that's maybe closest to going to a low 2 is definitely a Lost Lately. That one is definitely not that hard, and like Freestyle, it could have been a Deluxe hard. And also, we have songs here that feel a little odd. Have you ever played an extreme and never said, I played harder? That's where Last Resort, Bleed Me Dry, and To The Stars Deluxe come in. Theoretically, these charts do definitely look on the extreme level. But when comparing it to other charts later in the tier, this is where they land itself in the highest 2 range. So here we are, the 3-star tier. With 30 songs in this tier, obviously being the most packed in the entire bunch, we do see a lot of ups and downs here in this tier. So let's start with the downs real quickly. First of all, you may wonder that Bizarre Love Triangle's in the 3-star tier. Some newer players or even pro players do consider it maybe at least a 2-star or maybe a high 1. The thing with this one though is that unlike something like You Spin Me Round where it's basically trying to force a lot to try to charting around your foot, this one here does it in a more bizarre way, as implied. There's a lot of stairs, a lot of tapping, a lot of weird timing being pushed around your face. You have to keep up with changing a sync in timing here in order to actually figure out where to go. I do think this could actually drop to a 2-star, but as it is, it's a very low 3. And speaking of low 3s, we have Can't Hold Us Deluxe, Walk Deluxe, and Psychosocial Deluxe. Can't Hold Us Deluxe is definitely very much charted towards Malcolm Moore's very fast tapping, and unlike Threshold Deluxe, I can actually say that this is actually a good improvement. But I do think that a little bit more could have actually been done here to actually stand itself out a little more. Maybe adding a bit more of the verses here and minimizing trumpet solo would have been better. We have Walk Deluxe here, which is actually maybe on the same level as My Friends Over You Deluxe, except one thing on the final stage with a really interesting solo here that do push it up to a low 3. Psychosocial Deluxe, on the other hand, has a pretty dense chart with a lot of stacking and a lot of weird timing, and the solo is honestly not that hard, so it could definitely drop to a 2-star maybe later on. We do actually have a lot of songs here, some OGs like Bang Bang, American Idiot, The Middle, and even some newer types from the Journey verse like Do Haas, Misery Business, and even some new ones like Hot Shot. We do have a lot of ones that are actually close to jumping to the 4-star, like Bonfire Deluxe, I Know Little Deluxe, Godzilla Deluxe, Catch-22 Deluxe, and Dash Star Deluxe, and Simply Destruction Deluxe too. These ones basically based around variants of, well, what skill do you think is actually much more better, how you can concentrate. For some, like I Know a Little Deluxe and Godzilla Deluxe, are concentration based. Catch-22 Deluxe is definitely more speed based. Dash Star Deluxe is definitely more stamina based, and so on and so forth. So basically, it all depends on which one you think is actually the harder one to tackle on here, and it usually depends here about where do you go from 3 or 4. The 3.5 is basically the middle ground. Now we get to the 4 stars. 24 songs in this tier, and these should be pretty obvious why they're all 4 stars. Let's start with the lowest ones first. We have Anomalies Deluxe, which actually is pretty strange why this one's actually at a 4-star. When comparing to something like Psychosocial or Walk Deluxe here, it definitely has the same value as it. Except Anomalies Deluxe takes a little things to an extreme variant. You have a lot more stairs, a lot more tapping for the instrumentation, a lot more stairs, and definitely the whole entire drum solo by the final stage. Definitely barely reaching the 4-star tier. We also have Eagle Deluxe here, which a lot of people do think this isn't worth a 4-star. Technically, with the whole entire time to waste pattern being thrown in stage 3, just barely trying to cling on to the extreme, like, I do see it kind of dropping, but for some newer players, it could be a hassle. We have some weird picks in this list as well. We have A Dream of a Night in Mexico Deluxe, first originally being a Deluxe Hard, I don't know what Beatstar was thinking. We have Heavy Shadows, Archangel, and High Frequencies Deluxe, basically either being swipe bonanzas or either being just boring. We also have some really interesting improvements here, like Overdrive Deluxe, The Devil Went Down to Georgia Deluxe, M95 Deluxe, and basically Give Me Some More Deluxe, all being really vast improvements from their standard pro counterparts. We also have new ground to cover as well here, like Money Deluxe, It's About Time Deluxe, Getting Hot Deluxe, and Cosmic Fractures Deluxe. You may actually notice here that some of them do actually have some really hard tricks on the sleeves, like Hold Takes, the Jacks, Repetition, all that kind of stuff. We also have the first of their 900 charts being put in here, like Under the Weeping Moon, and once again, High Frequencies Deluxe, being repetitive and not actually that hard compared to the 5 stars being told later on. And lo and behold, we are at the 5 stars. Honestly, a lot more than I thought based around like how this chart was going to be packed, but here we are with 19 songs on this list. The closest ones to dropping are definitely Avalon Deluxe, Gimme Chocolate Deluxe, Play Deluxe, and Sweatbox Deluxe. Basically all being repetitive, having some really tricky patterns in their sleeve, but maybe a few things in here could be vast and different here that could drop it for pro players. And we have a lot of weird ones in this list, So Passivation Deluxe actually being a swipe hellhole, Plasma Deluxe and Throne of Blood Deluxe actually being very dense and really scrappers when it comes to actually taking the extreme difficulty seriously. We have big solo ones like My Sharona Deluxe, Time to Waste Deluxe, and Be Careful About a Fool Deluxe. And of course we have the bad boys like Swamp Things Deluxe, Evil Twin Deluxe, and Possibilities and Foundabilities Deluxe actually being in the higher 5-star tier. Each one of them actually do something really differently here that actually does warrant underdog status. a lot of stairs being thrown in your face in Evil Twin Deluxe, very fast micros, and really shake up a pattern of possibilities and counters. We also have here a lot of weird notions being thrown in Swamp Thing Deluxe, Mad Solo, and Be Careful What Are Full in the Muffalo Deluxe. It all comes down here if you're ready to actually take on these high dogs. It can definitely take a long time to actually DP these ones, so I should just be careful of any kind of things it throws at you, until you realize that there are only other bad boys in this game that can do things a lot harder. With that said, the 6-star Deluxe. Definitely the 4 hardest songs in the entire game, each one having a trick that will throw you into the brig. Like How Will Be Thy Name Deluxe being the first of the many here to actually throw a really mad, crazy solo at you, which doesn't caveat actually trying to think fast and trying to figure out the patterns really carefully. Afterlife Deluxe being a very massive improvement over these original Deluxe here, actually going from an undercooked to an overcooked cake, actually giving you a lot more praiseness when it actually comes with the micros and solo. Tornado Soul Deluxe being the old G1 with actually the mega hard solo from Megadeth, and a newcomer like Sash Boogie Deluxe actually having some more entity here with I Know Little Deluxe, along with actually the fast micros from Afterlife. It could be close to dropping to a 5-star for some, but these up whole is definitely the hardest ones in the whole entire tiers. Whew. So here it is, the Deluxe Extremes tier list of January 2025 for Beatstar. Definitely a whole entire nice quantity based one. Obviously most of the newer Deluxe Extremes may land us up to 2 or 3 star, and we do actually see a lot more difficult ones coming along here. And I do think that overall, the Deluxe Extremes here actually has a lot more variety here than the Standards. While the Standards here is definitely less in quantity, these ones here actually have a whole lot of quality to them. Maybe some do actually ring similar bells to the old ones here, but honestly, I'm really happy to see a lot more difficult ones being shown here in the Deluxe Extremes when needed. It definitely does show that the Deluxe Extremes have a really interesting flavor to them. I just wish more can actually be done with the Standard Extremes as well. I just really hope going forward they don't glorify Deluxe Extremes as much as Standard Extremes, because I do think Standard Extremes should actually have the same power to them, because I definitely want a lot more 4 and 5-star Standard Extremes as well. So with this tier list in mind, what should we take away from this entire list? I feel like this list over here shows that there's really no right or wrong answers how to rank extremes, because skills do vary on everyone regardless of which one you play. You can have some like are really good at all-around patterns like Rabbit's Foot, some that are better at stamina than Dash Star, and some who are really good at solos like the whole entire bunches of 6 stars. It really depends which one you play and which one you really think is actually worth your time if actually trying to rank. Except if you're a KLV main, because everyone can see it's a 1 star. I'm pretty sure ranking anything above a 1 is really unorthodox. But I will say here, you should cherish the ones you love and think of any extreme. And if you, for some reason, actually find an extreme harder than some others may think about, that's completely understandable. Skill is basically varying here and actually help you develop the way you go. All I do wish though is that you all actually know how much I really do care about all these charts in the game and really think that they are actually really fun to play. So to end off on a light note, a special thanks again to Ben Matson and Dan, the inspirations for making the list. Really had a lot of fun looking at the Beatstar Deluxe Extremes here, and I actually had fun ranking a lot of them. Over 100 Deluxe Extremes in this game is actually really something to behold. It's really nice that Beatstar really does care about the extreme rating when needed. And a special thanks to the Beatstar Discord community and the Beatstar Handbook for analyzing all the Deluxe Extremes on the hands. We're getting closer to Season 50, and when that's almost over, I might do the hard tier list for seasons 41 to 50, and even update the whole entire standard hard tier list as well. I'm also thinking that maybe I can actually do semi-annually update of the Beatstar standard hard tier list. So let me know if you guys actually want to see that. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. This took a lot of hard work, and I'm really glad to see how far I came with the hard tier list and extreme tier list. And thank you all so much, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.